Welcome, everybody. My name is Melody Hammer, and I am an executive producer who makes content for all types of digital platforms, most recently for 17 Magazine's YouTube channel. And so I'm just going to have our esteemed panelists introduce themselves and a couple of the projects that maybe they've worked on, and then we'll jump into some questions. And we really want this to be more of a conversation, so after we kind of touch on a topic, I'll open it up, and if anybody has any questions about that particular topic, feel free to join the conversation. All right, Ivy, go ahead and let us know.
Hi, I'm Ivy Eisenberg, the owner of Eisenberg Casting. I worked at MGM for quite a few years, and since starting my own company, I currently work in a lot of web series, video games, comedy, a lot of animation for Adult Swim, Comedy Central, and video games for various developers that are AAA titles.
Hi, I'm Tracy Twinkie Bird from Brooklyn, New York. I am the casting director of, well, I'm most known for Fruitvale Station. And, oh gosh, what else have I done? Sparkle, Notorious, Stomp the Yard, and currently working on a project for Screen Gems right now and another project for Nick Cannon. So I'm excited about that. Anything else?
No, that's
How's
great.
that? That good? Okay, awesome.
I am Matthew LaSalle. I'm also Vice President of the Casting Society of America, which is super exciting. What else do I do? I cast independent feature films. I guess I'm most known for Mean Creek, Rocket Science. I just cast a film for Michelle Franco called Chronic, starring Tim Roth. And I do the series Mortal Kombat, which is Machinima's web series. I did, and also on the web, Aim High Series 2. And I'm currently casting several indie features. Very exciting.
Yes, you are.
Always, always, always.
Hi, I'm Emily Schweber. I cast a lot of independent movies, film festival movies, art films. I've also started doing some major franchise video games, motion capture, not like Ivy, who we call the queen of video games, but I'm getting more into that. And right now I'm working as the casting consultant to Junto Box Incubator Program, a new lab program that's similar to the Sundance Labs.
Wow.
And organizing table reads for them and advising their filmmakers.
That's cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Welcome. So let's jump right into it. Obviously it's digital Hollywood. So want to know, is casting for digital different than traditional? And if so, how? And video games as well. Like, what's the differences between casting projects?
Well, Emily, do you and I want to take this particular
Sure.
question?
Yeah.
So I have found, working on specific franchises, that acting for video games is not necessarily different per se. It is just a more astute form of acting, in that theater performers and people who have like BFAs, MFAs, who are really in touch with their entire body and really bring that whole instrument to the table, are more adept in the medium than people who have sort of assimilated to a television style, which is a little more minimalistic, standing on a mark, moving less, not necessarily being as physical or physicalizing your emotions in terms of subtle gestures, etc., that I find work best in video games. There has been a transition over time in original video games, when performance capture first started, to really just over gesticulate and do really big things. And now, as the technology advances, we find those types of performances being less and less viable, whereas it's a nice mix of people who can project, who can move, who are really cognizant of their body language, whether it's posture or a few gestures to underline what they're saying. People in television don't often succeed in this medium, or their performances sort of end up being rendered a little flat because they tend to act with their eyes, and we don't capture the eyes. That's the only thing in performance capture that we don't end up really capturing. We'll capture the movement of your face, your body language, your whole everything except for your eyes. So vocal intention and physicality become way more important than intention through your eyes, through a look, through, you know, even if you are thinking and you sort of tilt your head up to think for a moment subtly, as opposed to rolling your eyes up, that makes an enormous difference in how it's digitized and captured and then comes to fruition in game. So
That's so interesting. So do you feel like anybody who has like a stunt background or somebody who can kind of kick and move is more important, or just really the acting?
No, just really good acting. Really being able to be self-aware. I think stunt people have a very specific skill set that doesn't always include the ability to act.
Right.
So it's like if you are a chef, it doesn't mean you're going to be a great baker. And I don't think they should be lumped together.
Right.
So, Emily does such huge AAA titles as well. So I would love for you to kind of take over.
I think I'm learning to pay a lot more attention to voices than when I'm working on a movie, and interesting, unique voices. And well, really, theater trained actors seem to have an advantage in that.
Right.
And because mumbling, letting your words trail off, whispering is not working so well in video games.
Right.
But in terms of the acting, the trend is much more about the relationships between the characters, and it isn't so, it's not cartoony anymore.
Yeah.
They're wanting really great actors.
And don't you find, like, with some of the names, some of the things that I experience, and I think you can share on this, don't you find that a lot of really prominent television people, when they come in, they don't really understand? And you think because they have a name and because you know their body of work that they're going to be great, and then they don't move at all, and they don't articulate their words, and like you said, they mumble, and
That's why the offer only component of that we usually, for names in casting, it doesn't work so well with this medium. They really have to see it. They have to see the audition.
So do you guys tap into at all, like, gamers on YouTube is such a huge thing. Do you guys tap into like people who are known for video games as like stunt casting at all, or do you really look for more traditional actors?
I think it's a question of, and I'd love some cream and sweet loaf if you have. Dude, I'm not even awake right now. Like, normally I'm like a little jokey Smurf, and now I'm just like down to business. Thank you kindly. Woo. You'll see I'm so funny once I get a little coffee in me.
Oh my God. So am I. I have personality.
Oh my God, these people are the best. I love them so much. You know what's interesting? Just to not answer your question at all.
Great.
Totally take over the panel because that's what she does.
But it's funny because Matt and I are on the board of directors for the CSA together, the Casting Society of America, who has co-sponsored this event with Holly Shorts. And what's interesting is, from an outside perspective, people are always like, why are you friends with other casting directors? Aren't they your competition? And I'm like, I never look at them that way. I always look at them as my support network and people I go to for other ideas and collaborate with, and go to and say, I have this project, you want to work on me with it? Emily and I just worked for the last 3 weeks on something, and I'm like, I need your ideas. Like, I'm out of ideas. Like, you got to help me. Because sometimes you end up then, to your question, seeing the same people over and over because there are certain people that are really good at it. And you're like, well, why not hire the best?
Right.
And there isn't always time to bring in new people. I would love it if all new people were awesome, but most of the time they suck, and who has time for that?
Oh my God. I'm doing a search right now for Screen Gems, and oh my God.
Right.
I believe I've seen 120 young ladies. First of all, I'm doing a search for a film that's a thriller that was written all Caucasian and cast all Black.
Good for you.
So now everything that the girls wanted is here, and they can't do it.
Wait, what do you mean?
They're not able to achieve the levels because they're not ready. They're not prepped for that particular thing. So they've been doing the usual suspect stuff so much that now that they've assimilated, and the cream, of course, rises to the top, or so does the shit, depending on, and well, it's true, right? No? Okay, so anyway. yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with right now, and I'm bringing in a bunch of new people, and I did find one diamond in the rough, but I'm a diamond finder, but I found one.
So have you guys in your indies, because you guys do so many Sundance things and festival things, do you guys go toward those YouTube people? Because I know for my comedy stuff and things where they want us to tweet. Yeah, of
Just
course. Oh, I know. I'm
It's
sorry.
over for you.
But I'm answering your question.
No, it's over.
But like, do
She's
you guys
had her
put
coffee,
those
ladies and
YouTube,
gentlemen.
like Shane Dawson,
Yeah.
Sean Dawson,
I
Shane
mean-
Dawson on their lists?
I have a thing where I've said over and over again that sort of going to the web or YouTube or whatever site it is sort of like the LA version of going to off-Broadway theater in New York. Like we don't really have, if you're a New York casting director, you have these amazing, you have theater to go to every night.
Yeah,
In LA,
right.
LA, you can go to theater every night if you want to drive 40 minutes and kill yourself in the car and like want to,
Wait, what?
and torture yourself with certain theater companies. But but actually what I find is that I find, especially for comedy, although drama, web series is a really big resource for me for finding new actors. And I'll just sit in bed and open up a bottle of wine and be like, boop, 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 and find the people and bring them in the next day. And then you develop really great relationships with actors that way who you can tell over time are going to,
So clearly there's a stigma for YouTubers. I mean,
why?
as far as you were saying that it's the equivalent of casting an off-Broadway.
But that's a good thing.
No, that's a good
Oh.
thing.
That's how
Yeah.
discovering new talent.
No, and I
So
think
that's
and I
good.
think the difference between YouTubers and actors who perform in web series is different too. Like if we're talking about, it's the YouTubers who, if you're talking about people who have essentially video blogs who've developed a persona,
Mhm.
because they're really good, like at fashion, and they've become this sort of young 17-year-old voice of fashion, whatever, pick any category. To me, that's not, it doesn't, the conversations come up with producers about those people, but those people aren't actors to me. So, and don't want to be actors. They want to
Some
be
of them.
famous. So
Yeah.
there's a very big difference for what I'm looking for. Now I'm open to anything. And I think that sometimes they serve a purpose if it's 1 or 2 or 3 lines and it's a teenage comedy and they need a best friend and, oh, that's cool, that blah, blah, blah. I mean, I can't even tell you who they are because I don't know, nor do I care.
Are you throwing a
So I would say
Kardashian?
though that there are.
No, but you're too old. You say Kardashian and you're like, you're not even thinking about you're not even in the right frame of mind. Like, we don't know. You have to go, you have to really be paying attention to what's
And to
happening. And it's a different demographic, and I don't care about it. And it's not that I don't, and it's not because, and the thing is it's easy, it's an easy touch to figure out who it is. It's not, it's not, you don't have to like have it at the tip of your, at the forefront of your mind as this is who the hot YouTuber is, because you can pretty much figure that out in 5 seconds by Googling it. So,
Right.
if I want to create that list and want to come up with something creative sort of outside the box, then I'll do it. But I don't really, I want actors.
So that leads me to like an important question that I hear a lot, because I, had a lot of projects at 17 that we were looking for people, and 17 is a very specific brand. It has to have, a polish to it. So we did look for people who had a following, who did have some talent. So do you feel like a lot of these YouTubers are wanting to be actors and they went to YouTube as a way of getting sort of noticed? And I definitely think there's a distinction in people who just want to vlog and put on makeup drunk and do that kind of thing. But there's also the creators and the YouTubers who want to be actors. What can you guys suggest for them to
again,
make
the cream
Seriously,
rises.
exactly what you said. I mean,
Rises.
sometimes a dog taking a shit gets a million hits,
That's right. Or you have your really great viners, or those that do their 6-second vines, and they are actors, and they come up with these really great 6-second skits.
like Drew
that are
Droege and his
brilliant.
Chloe Sevigny.
Yes, and they are actually brilliant. But then here's what happens. Okay, you're so great at doing the 6-second version, but you can't build a character to give me a 2-minute monologue that takes me on a journey. So that could be an issue as well. You become so adept and so strong at doing something incredibly short that you can't you don't have the skill set to take me on a longer journey or to create a character and to build a character and give that character layers and levels for throughout a film or throughout a series.
So what would you guys suggest that these people who want to be actors
Study.
do? Go to school, or I mean,
Here's
is there
study.
natural, like, what materials can they prepare themselves with to be taken seriously?
Study, conservatory, study.
I'm just going back a little bit before we talk about the tools. Is, you know, when I'm casting Mortal Kombat, I'm about to, I think theoretically, I'm starting Mortal Kombat 3 at some point. I would be more interested in the, like, who those people are that have, you know, the high gabillion hits on YouTube and who are interesting in that world, because I think it would cross-pollinate really well. So I would pay attention to it in a different, just in case there's a character that I can bring that to. I think that the Warner, the people, it's not called Warner Digital anymore, but that division would be interested in knowing who those people are. They probably already know. I usually get told versus me going the other way around.
I think that there are talent agents that are really clued into it and will introduce us to certain people that are making a crossover transition.
Yeah. I mean, I think our job is to sort of decide, you know, to advise our producers and directors and writers and the creatives who we think are who can act. Like that is the, you know, like, I mean, essentially it doesn't matter where they come from, you know, if they fit the part and there's something special about them, we're going to respond.
In terms of auditioning them and giving them a chance, we're absolutely going to do that.
Yeah, we give.
They seem interesting.
Yeah.
Then it's up to them. Then they have to
Right.
give it back to us. But I brought this article that that came out yesterday, where this YouTube star was just signed to be the lead in a Showtime series. Did you see that? Her name is Rachel Bloom. And the head of Showtime, David Nevin, said that because she had star potential, charm, and charisma, it's one thing to have a great voice as a writer, but it's another to say, I'm going to make a show around her. You've got to believe that she can be a star, and I do. And she hadn't done anything except for her YouTube videos. But he's pairing her with a really experienced writer, the writer of Devil Wears Prada, so that they can work together on this show. But I thought that's really interesting and addresses what you're talking about.
What did it say what she did on her YouTube things?
Check her out on
Her
YouTube.
show's called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and
Oh yeah.
it says that
She
she
makes
writes and
face.
stars in
That's
quirky and
provocative.
often. Oh, that got cut off, but I guess something.
But see, that's
quirky.
more of a actor writing her own material, and I think that
Right.
there's a difference between, and that's amazing and great, and I
It
do
is.
think that is where we are
You have to-
sourcing new talent from, and for sure. But as far as skateboarders, you know, and with a gabillion hits because they skateboard in Hawaii and are so cool, you know, those people who have a huge audience, young audience, that is always tricky to they have to audition, they may not want to.
So somebody who hasn't had formal training or background, but they are creating a voice for themselves and they are acting, it's not vlogging. Would you guys take someone like that? Like Tracy, I know that you took Jordan Sparks from American Idol and put her in Sparkle, and you guys love to find somebody and sort of develop them. So you do feel like the ones who are acting on YouTube, you can maybe develop into the traditional space. Yeah.
Well, yes, but here's the thing: Jordan Sparks went to a performing arts high school, so she's a well-rounded, singer, dancer, actress. Like she got all of it, theater, drama, the whole thing.
Mhm.
So that was a little bit different. It was a little bit different because she, that was her background. So when she came in, of course, now she's working, doing 1-hour dramas and all that great
Okay.
stuff. She's taking it very seriously as a singer and an actress together at the same time. But yes, I'm kind of, that's kind of the situation. You can, if someone has something, she has a base
Mhm.
to build off of as well. Because sometimes I did bring in the skater guy, the skateboarder guy, one of them, and so much personality online and so much personality when he's talking about his passion, which is skateboarding and competitions and all of that. And then you say action for anything outside of that, and it was complete shutdown. So it just kind of depends.
So it doesn't always translate.
It does not always, but if you're doing something, if you're doing a film where skateboarding is, of course, the storyline, then yeah, by all means, get them, put them in their wheelhouse. Jordan Sparks is a singer, and it's in her wheelhouse. So put them in their wheelhouse, and then once they get in there, then they build and they grow.
Great. So now I'd love to open it up if anybody has any questions about this. Wow, lots of questions. Okay. Go ahead. Why don't you stand up and.
Hi, I'm Meredith Riley Stewart.
Hi.
I'm a cardiologist. I can see you here. Thank you for your time. So I have a question kind of going the other direction. From actors who do have training, have some credits, and who are creating their own content and putting it online, how do we get people like you to see it and to be interested enough in what you're doing kind of in your own little world to bring you in for bigger projects?
You know, you already emailed us, so. I mean,
Didn't you stop by my office too?
I did.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where that's a really good question, because what we've been saying for 10 minutes is there are two kinds of online presence. One, you're doing your own thing and people like that, are interested in it for whatever reason, and you become part of pop culture for that thing, painting your nails, showing how to get a boyfriend, like all of those things. If there's a place in some wacky comedy where they want a Kardashian or they want a YouTube person and we can pop you in and look pretty for 3 seconds online and go, you know, like I hired Sasha Grey for a film. I guess no one watches porn in here. So, okay, so it was one of those things.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So she had done a little role in Entourage, but I mean, she's a porn star. So, and I had hired other porn stars for animated things and comedies, and they come in and they say 5 lines and they're awesome. And then that's it. And then we can have another interesting way to draw in an audience, because everything we do is half art, half commerce.
Right.
So long story. I mean, people want to make their money back. And if that means throwing a Kardashian in a bikini, running around in a drama, you might get those suggestions from your executives or financiers. It doesn't mean you always have to honor them, but you try to incorporate all of those things that will draw in a larger audience. So to that end, make sure whatever you're doing is good and funny or interesting or whatever. And circulate it as much as possible to your friends. Have them post it on Facebook, have them tweet about it, you know, as many cross references as you can for marketing purposes, because A, you can create the content, but then B, you have to market it.
Right.
And you can't have this amazing cake that no one eats. Right?
Right over here. Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Robert Ozen. I'm a producer and a screenwriter, and I'm actually quite interested in using talent that already has a web presence, and I clearly understand the distinction between, you know, a vlogger personality and an actor. So I ask you, you know, the net is so, the budgets are so low. You know, are you folks approachable as far as casting a web series?
Matt casts one right now.
Great.
I cast Annoying Orange for 3 years. A little fruit with the eyes and the mouth. And I got Jane Lynch and Danny Trejo and Michael Clark Duncan, God rest his soul, was our Marshmallow King before he passed. You know, if it's good, it's good. It doesn't really matter. And I think that's what we're finding as a society. With Netflix, gosh, I hate to age us all, but we remember when cable was shit. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, it's for cable. Right. And now it's like, oh, it's a Netflix series. Sign me up. Right. You know, Netflix. Right. Oh boy. So I just think that's right. If it's good, it's good. And it'll find an audience, right? What do you guys?
So do you guys sort of have like, you guys are obviously know the talent that you think is really talented, but do you also have sort of like a place that you know, like who is who in YouTube and who has numbers here, there, and other places, as well as their abilities for somebody who is looking to cast somebody who has a presence but also wants to make sure that they're talented?
Well, sometimes I've sold an actor on they have this many Twitter followers, you know, just in an audition. Like over 100,000, like over 100,000. I think it's you know, makes a difference. Not really. I mean, again, it is real. but I try not to. I always say make the best film that you can make with the best actors who are right for the role, and then you will have success. You won't have it if you choose things for the wrong reason. I honestly, I've never seen it work. So so.
I'm sorry.
But as far as
Unfortunately, in the African American market, it works all the time.
Okay,
There's
well, there
Wendy
you go.
Williams. She has her own show.
Well-
she can talk about the movie forever.
Right.
And yeah, you put her in there for 2 seconds, but you make sure she's in the promo on television every single day.
Right. But that, I mean,
She's
not
not
as,
an actress.
as a lead,
It's just funny.
as a lead.
No, she was supporting. She was supporting. Think like a man.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's where the art and commerce meet,
Yeah.
because she
I'm
has an
very-
enormous
She has an
following.
enormous
I
following.
do watch her show.
No.
I think she's funny
Yeah,
and
she is
clever,
funny.
and
Right.
I
It's
love
got to
her
be something
wigs.
they're capable of, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you said,
It's-
only
And
for
it was a really good gag joke because it's Kevin Hart's wife, and she's like 6'2",
Right.
and he's 5'4".
But then that's
But that
good
makes sense.
casting.
That makes
That's good
sense.
casting.
Yeah.
That's not arbitrarily
Yeah.
putting someone famous in there for the sake of it. You came up with a really awesome idea.
Okay. I
We'll
accept
take one more question and move on. Go ahead, right over here. Yeah, you with the sunglasses.
Only Ivy. Oh, her perspective is awesome. Okay.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Christy Joy, an actress, sketch comedian with improv tendencies, a host, and I.
Improv tendencies? Is that what you
She has
said?
improv tendencies.
Yeah.
Oh,
She has
okay.
improv tendencies. From time to time, it just pops out.
Tends to improv.
Yeah, just randomly
Just say yes.
in the hallway. Improv.
Right now.
Yes, it's my coffee. It just kicked in.
Yes. Sorry, I'm taking directions.
Okay.
So I also write and produce my own stuff on YouTube. And to piggyback on her question, and then just one other question about what you guys were talking about. For the YouTube stuff, like when you're at night getting drunk on wine, looking for YouTube videos to watch, like that.
In your bathtub?
What are like some keywords that we could use as like taglines in our videos
Oh, that's a good idea.
for you to search for?
Are you allowed to say those words here, Matt?
Question is about the video game stuff, because I honestly know nothing about that. Like, is comedy too big for video gamers? The things you're casting kind of stuff.
There's so many. I mean, Emily works on different franchises than I work, so I should definitely let her speak.
It depends on what the content of the game is. This one that I did, Dead Rising 3, was about zombies, and it was a comedic game. So yeah, there can be something that'll work for comedy. Not all of them. Some are very militaristic. Most are, but yeah, but there are a lot of comedy.
And then when I'm looking for
Sometimes.
talent, it's sort of based on the talent that it's usually I'm direct, like indie film magazines will they'll tell you like what the best web series are. So that's kind of how I go about it if I'm reading it. So I'm not really keying into keywords saying, but I suppose
Less search and more
yeah, it's not
curated.
search, it's more research. I spend I read IndieWire and I read
Right.
various different independent film magazines or sketch comedy blogs, or I look at the actors who are at UCB and Second City, and I cross-reference what they're doing because they're all doing something online. So if I just do that, I don't have to do very much more because that's enough. That fills plenty of sessions, so there's competition there, but that it just all leads to the next thing.
And a lot of the YouTube stuff or UCB stuff, or like Birthday Boys is now a series, and there are a lot of things that started online. Again, like Annoying Orange started online, and then it was on Cartoon Network, and it's just a great launching pad for interesting, unique projects that all of a sudden people are like, you got to see this, and then boom, they have 1 million
And
followers.
it's really great because I cast a lot of things. Like I just did a film with Quentin Aaron shooting in Wisconsin, and so I had a lot of I needed to source actors in Wisconsin, which isn't easy, like Madison and some other city in Wisconsin, I don't know. And Chicago actors. So like I did, I concentrated, I would type in on a search like Chicago improv web series, blah, and it helps, two or three people pop up that you can bring in for an audition, so that's sort of what's happening when I'm drunk in bed.
So
Oh, wow.
I would love to jump back to the tools for people coming in who don't have, a lot of traditional experience. Would you guys say that it's helpful to put web content on Reels, or is there any
I would say
sort
it's
of
helpful to put your reel on the web.
great? So like the other way around though, like if you haven't done traditional stuff, like if you've done web series, is it helpful to have that on a reel even if it's not top quality?
For
Wait,
me,
even though it's not
go ahead.
Yeah, because web series are less.
Not all.
Not
No, they're
all.
not.
Some of
The
them.
ones that I'm watching now are very sexy.
Yeah.
Like they look good.
For me, if like on Actors Access, which for an actor that's posted online, like with breakdown, and then they have their reel attached to their submission.
Right.
I'll go through those because I have to hear their voice, for a game, or just I don't want to. I may want to cut down on the amount of people I'm going to pre-screen, so I'll watch that material first. And so if it's a web series or anything like that, or it's a movie or TV, I mean, anything is, as long as it's good, it can be just web stuff. That's fine.
I think that, and also the quality of the piece itself, in terms of the aesthetic, it would be great if it was top quality and professional quality. But if you don't have access to that, and you and your friends got together
Exactly, yeah.
and wrote this hilarious short film, and you pieced it together. I mean, I went to SC Film School, so I know that world really well. If you feel like you embodied this character and everyone you show it to laughs and thinks this is hilarious, what a great concept, you're amazing. Yeah, of course, include it.
I mean, it's our job to suss out, even if the quality of the piece is bad, that's what, if we really think someone's potentially interesting, I mean, that we bring them in, so it's not, it doesn't help if it's not good, but we're trained to, over all this time, to kind of figure out what is going to work and what isn't. So,
And
Do you
yeah,
know
and we're
what I've learned,
salespeople.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
One of the things, thank you, honey, that I've learned is that the bloggers and webisode folks or web series, they really know how to frame themselves. So they're self-taping. Their self-tapes look like they were produced. It looks really, really good. They know how to frame themselves. They know what color works for their skin and they're wearing it. They know, what should be behind them. I shouldn't see the kitchen mop and all of your cleaning utensils and, your special bath salts because you're in the bathroom and that's where the best light is. They know where their best light is. They have kind of like a setup. So it's really helpful. I mean, they kind of get it. They get the aesthetic, they get it. So if they have that coupled with the talent, it's an awesome self-tape.
Great. So would you guys suggest for somebody who is comedic, we were talking a lot about vlogging versus acting on the web, but if somebody is really funny, even if it's a vlog, should they include that, or would you suggest staying away from vlogs altogether?
They could include a little piece of it, but it shouldn't be the focal point of the entire
Right.
thing. I mean, to get back to, we hire actors, like we hire people that can deliver what we need.
Right.
So there isn't any room for people who can't. So the object of the game is to showcase your ability to get the job done, whatever that means.
Great. Any more questions?
Questions.
Right here in the yellow.
Here they come.
Hello, my name is Paige Prince. I'm currently a student, but I'm trying to get my foot in the door in some places and everything like that. And I really want to create like a reel or something like that, but I haven't been able to do anything because I am in school.
Because you don't have the money to buy a camera, or because you don't have the time?
You don't have a
Well, I
computer?
don't have a lot of time. I mean, but so what should I include in a reel that if I haven't been in a
You don't have any friends?
You're not in a club.
it's a tough crowd.
Well, we just no, because people who say it can't be done, it can't be
Right.
done.
Right.
People, I mean,
Right.
again, I didn't even need to go to film school. It served me not at all, except for the $100,000 I had to fucking pay back. So
No, I think that the point is that you
She's saying
should
quit
be
school.
creating your own content.
Right.
You create your own content, so you have to write for yourself. Write to your strengths. Get your friends together to tape you doing what you do well. That's what you put on your reel. That's
And then as you get other, get cast and things, then you'll create a reel. But initially, you could do something like that.
I mean,
but is performing what you want to do?
yes, performing is what
Or do you want to make product? Do you want to be a content creator, or you want to be an actor in the pieces?
I want to be an actor in.
Oh,
So then you need to come in contact with and make friends with someone who wants to create content.
I would
so that you
say-
can act in their pieces.
USC, UCLA, Cal Arts.
I mean,
I mean,
there's
you
a
have
million
8,000
opportunities. Right.
trillion, jillion
There's a
people to
million
choose from.
opportunities to be in short films. There's,
Right,
You know,
short
I mean,
films.
every film school
Yes.
is constantly asking for people to audition for, and that's where you're going to get your initial reel from.
So basically, in essence, the tongue in your mouth and the tongue in your shoes should be facing the same direction.
Ooh,
Right now,
good.
they're going this way and this way. Bring it
Quote
together.
of the day.
Very wise.
Hashtag
Very wise.
Twinkie.
You're great. You're really great.
It's
You
my
are.
coffee, man. That's what it is.
All right, we have a question right here. Go for it.
Hello.
I just want to give a shout out.
Yay.
Everything you're saying, I resonate with. A lot of comments in the comments voice casting is commercial voiceovers. And what you're saying, we're looking for the skills, the signature, we're looking for transitions and attitudes.
Mhm.
And through, I wanted you to address a little bit what I'm finding lately, and that is in voice casting. 3/4 of our auditions are, yes, we see people, but now what's happening is we're directing people, from far away. So I find myself directing people over the phone. Are you
Right.
finding that when you address what they need to know about that aspect?
Oh,
Now
yeah.
the world's a smaller place.
It is.
It's
Ca-
amazing.
I think, again, I always say casting is global.
Yeah.
There's no a local market potentially anymore. I mean, depending on the size of the budget of what you're working on, but even on a small film, you're still seeing people from other countries I mean, for what I do, I mean, I'm constantly talking to actors and agents from around the world and trying to get people. I just did this morning, I just called London about a Spanish actor. So to see if they've ever done an American accent before, which I know was totally, the answer was no, but I just needed to sort of double check. And so, those are early calls in the morning that we're making. And I think that everybody, actors who are thinking, oh, I'm in LA, I'm just competing against LA actors. You're not, you're competing against every English speaking and non-English speaking actor out there, because we need to have as many ideas for those roles as possible that are also interesting and creative and take the piece into a different direction. And, that's how I work, at least.
So I don't want to age you at all, but I just want you guys to know that absolutely besides the panel that you're in the presence of greatness, because when I was little and a child actor represented by like Iris Burton and some of those people, that I would audition for you as a child actor. And this is one of like the greatest VO casting directors who like originated it all. And I am just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. And you should think about joining the CSA.
Yes. Get over here.
But we recorded John Hamm for my show Trip Tank on Comedy Central from New York. For Robot Chicken, we recorded Simon Pegg from London. We recorded Jermaine Clement from New Zealand. I am a casting director, but more and more I am a voice director. It just depends on the project and whether or not they want me to additionally voice direct. But ultimately, in the audition process, if they don't go to their respective agencies and lay down those auditions there, then of course, that's why we're now casting directors, and we don't like to be called casting agents. No. We don't have a vested interest in terms of the commission aspect, the money aspect. We want the piece to be great. And if we need to direct you in the audition to get you where the client says, holy shit, this person's fabulous. That is our job, because we're looking at the mise en scène of the piece. We're looking at the overall production. So when you come in, be receptive to that redirection, because we have been entrusted with the vision of the piece. And through our interpretation of what will fit in terms of the pieces connected as a whole, we are trying to find those pieces of the puzzle that work together that are the right fit. And if we give you guidance, please accept it with love and not criticism, because we are trying to make sure that they want this kind of guy or that kind of woman or this kind of feel. And you may not inherently gravitate towards that choice, but you are capable of providing it once given a little direction. So we are now holistically casting directors.
Directors, take that, Taylor Hackford.
Not agents. We don't have a share of the money. We don't take any money from the back. We don't commission you. We don't do any of that. We're paid by the producers to create a vision and bring their vision to life.
So
Does that make sense?
that's awesome. And that's a great segue to what I would want to know next, which is obviously you guys are passionate about the projects that you guys take on. And you guys
Not always.
mentioned,
Just kidding.
you guys mentioned Annoying Orange, Mortal Kombat. Those are still pretty big properties in the digital space. Really well, big company Machinima and Annoying Orange was already getting millions and millions of views. Do you guys ever take on smaller web projects, and less smaller web projects, but like for me, for example, at 17, we had a lot of projects and each individual project was pretty small, but do you ever create relationships with web producers where it's more of an overall relationship rather than project by project?
No, but one of the last films I have been working on for 3.5 years, called No Way to Live, we finally got some money, and I said, let's make this a web series. And so they rewrote it. So, I mean, potentially they can put it all together as a film, but now they're going to release it, part by part as a web series. So it kind of worked backwards in that way. So I find that the freedom of the internet allows you to be creative, use less money, get really down and dirty and just try and make really good material. It's a really great place to do that. So yes, I work with filmmakers all the time and who are kind of straddling how am I going to make this? Where am I going to show this? They're trying to figure out how they're going to distribute it.
And Melody, I would say yes to that question, because sometimes we may have a client that we cast a movie for, and then they're doing something on the web or even a commercial or something small.
That's right.
So I might work on all sizes. And even to answer your question, which I don't even know if we did, but casting directors do cast all kinds of things on the internet and web series. I mean, there's so many levels of casting directors. Also, there's a lot of casting directors that are just starting out and really want to, acquire credits, maybe, more than we do. So I think there's a casting director for every project.
And you can go to castingsociety.com and find one.
Right.
That is great to know, actually. That's a
That is
really
right.
good plug and also good to know.
Yeah.
More questions?
We're done. Okay, so we are wrapping up. We're done. Thank you, everybody. I hope we answered all of the questions that you guys had.
Like
there's
two on
just
this
one
side.
question.
Do we have time for one more question? Okay, great. Oh, let's do sitting next to each other. Compile your question to one.
I have a question.
That would be why you started.
I'm an actor and I've done some stuff. However, I always feel like every actor should feel like they get better and better and better as they practice their craft. Do you guys come to showcases? Because I would love to invite you to one.
Yeah, we could deal with that after. Yeah. And let's get to absolutely. We'll talk about it after. And then the next one.
Quick question. You guys all know your field, most know your field, and when you get a project, do you ever go after a project because you really like it, or do they come to you and say, "I love what you're doing, please cast my project"? Which one?
Both.
Yeah, both.
Do you go after things?
I've been known to stalk
Sometimes,
people.
We're just like you guys.
Yeah.
We have to pursue work and find work,
Right.
and we're freelance, and
Okay.
sometimes we're really busy and sometimes we're not. Sometimes we meet on things and then we think, oh, I did great. And then what happened? They didn't call. It's the same.
Or
Same
Emily,
thing.
or Emily got the film and I didn't. Twinkie got the
Vice
film and
versa.
I didn't.
Most of the industries seem to be geared toward the millennial or the younger generation. Any
Only in your perception. Flip it. Flip your perception. Stop watching the CW. Flip it.
Flip your perception.
Go to another channel.
So I think the best takeaways today are walk with your tongue and flip your perception. And thank you, everybody. That's fantastic.